Great short game. I think, honestly, being in front of the British crowds that aren't super fond of him because of his Ryder Cup history and the fact that he went head-to-head.
They were saying he enjoys being the villain.
He does. There's no question about that. He's fed off that his entire career, even going back to college. So you have to know his personality type, and he thrives on these types of environments where he feels like the world's against him, his back's against the wall, and I think it brings the best out of him. His form's been looking pretty good. He hasn't had great British Open history, but I like Patrick Reed this week at 7,400. I think he's a great bargain who gives you upside to win. He just won a freaking major last year. Granted, it was his last victory, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him pop this week and finish top 5 or even better.
And at his same price range there, when I did run stats, I didn't look at a ton of stats, but I just kind of popped a few up there. Rory Sabatini popped up on a few. Can you do the double Rory lineup?
I wouldn't personally, although I wouldn't. He's one of those guys he's been playing really steady all year.
How would you feel about him if he was accurately predicted at 1.2% ownership?
That is a really, really low number. That's enticing. That's very enticing. I feel like there are a couple guys we talked about just above him in price, and Patrick Reed right at his price, and a couple guys below him that we'll talk about that are just a little better class of player. He's done a lot of his damage in some of these smaller, weaker field events, so the form can be a little bit misleading in that way because he doesn't play a whole lot of these World Golf Championship events or better field events. So, it can mislead you a little bit. But God, 1% is really tempting. I am surprised to hear that it's quite that low.
Yeah, man. When you got Wiesberger at projected at 11%, but that's, of course, he just won the Scottish Open or Irish Open, whatever he just won, right? Scottish Open.
Burned. Yeah, he won the Scottish Open last week. Yep.
Second at the Irish Open and then won the Scottish Open. So he's on fire in this general area, all right? But is 11% too much owned even at 7,100?
Oh, yeah. He's probably my favorite fade of the week, even just ahead of RCB. I just don't think he's got it in majors. He's a guy that a few years ago was doing well before he had some injury issues. And I got on him in a couple majors. I just don't think he has what it takes to put it together for 4 rounds in majors and hold it together under that pressure. So I'll be fading Burned. I think he's going to burn a lot of people this week.
Good
one. He's another guy that I think he'll be getting some pretty heavy cursing on Twitter. It's going to be fun to watch.
I glossed over a few players here. Alex Noren, Hae-Tong Lee, Thorbjorn Olesen, Kisner, Grace, Bubba. Any love for any of these guys?
Yeah, I like Thorbjorn. He's a guy that's shown up in majors over the last couple of years. He was really touted as a very solid prospect coming out of Europe a couple of years ago. And I think he's going to be a Ryder Cup mainstay in years to come. Finished 12th last year in the British. I think he's a guy that you can look at in the low 7s to round out some lineups with those studs up tops, or even if you're going with the balanced lineup, he could easily be your lowest price guy.
And he's had 2 top 15s at the Open in his past.
Yeah, no, he's a guy that I think he's just finding his major form. I think he's a guy who's got the pedigree, and most people don't realize what a good player he is. And I think it's a hell of a bargain for him at 7,300. So that's a guy that I like. The other guys I'm not super interested in. I think Kisner could be interesting. He contended last year right up until the very end on Sunday, until Molinari kind of ran away and hid. But the guy that's intriguing a little bit is he's got a great links record, and his ball striking last week was fantastic. He was actually number 1 in the field in strokes gained. Tee to green. That was
right?
No. Ty Hatton. I don't know. I was not even thinking about him coming into the week until I heard that stat. And I went, Jesus, he put it together for 4 days that well on the ball striking. And he's normally a good putter when his game's on. So I could be talked into some Tyrell Hatton at 74. He's at least intriguing and worth a look.
All right, let's keep moving. I got no love for Bubba. You got any love for Bubba?
No.
We'll move on. Zach Johnson, who has come up for this event before.
The form hasn't been there for Zach, man. Even at his hometown event last week at John Deere, where he's successfully done it year after year, he just kind of squeaked his way through the cut line and I think he made the cut. Maybe he missed it by a shot. I don't remember. But he just didn't perform very well. I'm not high on Zach Johnson this week. I think he'll be too high owned just because of British Open history. He's the type of player you want, right? I mean, a veteran who can get it done. He just grinds it out, hits fairways and greens, but his form just hasn't been there all year. So I don't see it showing up now.
All right. Friend of the podcast, Chesticle.
No,
I haven't heard anybody talk about him. Not even a little, nor our buddy Jason Kokrak.
Nope.
I did hear some press from Russell Knox, but of course that was from his sister, who does a golf podcast.
Yeah, I mean, she might have a little bit of bias, I think.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't have any love.
That was
for
a good
him either.
podcast. I'd never heard of it till today. Secret Golf. That was pretty
Secret
good.
Golf.
Yeah, Secret Golf with Russell Knox's sister. I already forgot her first name. Diana Knox.
I don't think it was Diana. I've seen her stuff on Twitter a little bit, but I've never listened to the podcast.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good. I liked it. All right, let's keep moving on. Obviously, national hero and treasure Jim Furyk is a lock, right? 7,100?
I don't know about that. I wouldn't be surprised if he made the cut. He just doesn't quite have the upside. But one little side note on previously discussed Patrick Reed. Mm-hmm. He is kind of on the border for making the President's Cup, and he's playing with Jim Furyk, the Capitan here. I think he's the captain this year. Or he was Ryder Cup captain last year. I don't know. Anyway, I think Reed's going to perform well because he's playing with Furyk.
I like it.
But I don't love Furyk's prospects this week as far as the upside you're looking for, even at that price. Might be safe in cash. You know, he hits fairways and greens for sure. Great short game. How about the guy
right there with him at 7,100? And if I remember correctly, he is a guy who has good course history with this. The guy who designed the course, Eric Van Rooyen.
Yeah,
the junkies like him a lot.
Yeah, I like EVR. He's a guy that I was on pretty heavily at the PGA. That paid some pretty good dividends for him, even though he had a bit of a weak Sunday. EVR, I think, is one of those guys that's just ready to contend at a major. Had a good week last week. I think he's a guy you can definitely look at as a potentially low-owned guy in the low 7Ks, although I know he's been talked about a bit, so maybe he'll be higher than I expect. But yeah, I like the way he's trending, man. I think he's ready to start doing it in majors a little bit more frequently, so I'm all about EVR this week.
I dig it. And just in case anybody is curious, since the show has been going, I have made exactly one more penny in my passive Bitcoin mining using the CryptoTab web browser. What do you think of that?
That's very exciting, man. Congratulations to you.
Very entertaining. Yeah. I've been mining crypto passively by using CryptoTab web browser for the last 2 days, and I have earned 42 cents worth of Bitcoin.
I mean, you can't argue with those returns, right?
I know. It's been amazing. I'm pretty sure I've spent more leaving my computer plugged in and on in the electricity bill, but that's neither here nor there.
That's probably true.
True story. All right. Emiliano Grillo and Keegan Bradley and Mike Lorenzo Vera, Byung-Hun An, Andy Sullivan, Sung J M, Thomas Peters, and Kevin Streelman, all at 7,000.
Only guy I like is Andy Sullivan. He's a great length player historically. I think he's ready to contend overseas in kind of his neck of the woods where he plays most of his golf on the Euro Tour. Yeah, I like Andy Sullivan this week. I think he has a good chance to. I mean, if he gets up there on the board, he could easily contend. A guy that I can see putting it together for 4 rounds. So I don't have a lot of interest in the other guys that you mentioned, though.
None of them are on my scratch list. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, if a guy looks a little intriguing, and then I see he's just got a putrid Open Championship track record, I'm just fading him. I'm getting off, and that's Benny on right there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm trying to find Sullivan's ownership projection, and I just seem to be missing him. I'm gonna guess it's not super high.
If you haven't found him yet,
Yeah, I might have blown by him. Oh, there he is. 4.7. That's higher than I thought it would be.
All right.
Yeah. All right, so getting out of the 7,000s, really the first name that pops for me, and stop me if you like somebody else, there's a lot of guys that have withdrawn here in this range, so be careful of that, including Chucky Sticks.
Chucky three sticks withdrew, huh?
It says he's out according to DraftKings. Kevin Na is out. Ryan Moore is out. Scott Piercy is out. So yeah, and a lot of these guys, these names I like, so that's kind of sad.
Yeah, some of those guys were a little intriguing, weren't they?
They sure were. Not anymore. Who cares?
Right. Enjoy watching like we are.
How about Tom Lewis? He looks like a guy whose hair plays well in the wind.
He's got some hair, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That spiky blonde hair, isn't that him?
I like it. Yep.
Yeah, no,
I'm having a hard time coming up with names here. I know there's got to be a few, but there's so much good value in that low 7,000 range. It's really not that necessary to dip. A couple of guys I noted that were mentioned out and about that I don't know anything about. Just heard them mentioned. Paul Waring down there at 66.
Yeah, I've heard that name a little bit too. I just don't know enough about him to jump on.
Where was Juiced Luton when I was doing all my 00 lineups?
Juiced, he plays in the Euro Tour, man. That's a double,
to play with Cooch and Gooch and Juiced.
Cooch, Juiced. There's plenty of 00s, but yeah, and I'm with you, man. The 7K range is just chocked full of really good plays.
How about Ryan Palmer?
Nah, I don't love Ryan Palmer.
65?
I can't get on that.
How about Sung Kang at 63 at 0.5% owned?
Nah, I'm good on Sung Kang. I don't think he hits it too high for the win they're gonna have out there. Who's the guy I was just looking at that I actually kind of liked? Where'd he? Lucas Beauregard. Beegers are good. I'm actually a little bit
good.
6,800. Not just because of that hilarious name. Yeah, he burned you last time, didn't he?
He burned me 3 times in a row. It's fine.
Oh God, was it that many?
Yeah, he got off to like the day one, like tied for second or tied for third the last time I played him, and I think he either missed the cut or just bombed or MDF'd or something. It was bad.
I have heard some love for Jazz, Jana Watanand.
Mm-hmm. Jazz Hands.
The best I can do. Jazz Hands has been talked up a little bit, and by some pretty reputable guys. For some top 20 bets at 10-1, I've seen him listed a little bit, so maybe he's worth a shot down there. I think he's at 66. Other than that, man, it's pretty ugly down here. Like 60, the 6,000 and below range. I just don't. We
haven't talked about my tipsy pick yet, though, so that's good.
This is true.
We're gonna save that.
How have the tipsy picks been playing out the last few weeks? I think I had a good one in Straka a couple weeks ago. I don't really know.
Absolutely. I mean, I could tell you, I keep track fastidiously. You know, I keep track of these things.
Good word.
Yeah. I'm very, very diligent in my keeping track of things. Let's see. How were our picks last week? We liked... I didn't actually watch last week, so you beat me because 4 of my guys missed the cut. So
that was brutal.
Yeah. You had 3 guys miss the cut, and I had 4. It wasn't good for either of us, but you won my $1. So
80 cents to me.
Yeah.
Big profit.
We had Neiman and Marikawa and Harmon and CH3. We had Kevin Tway we both loved, and he just stuck one right in our heart and twisted it, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah, Morikawa was the winner of that.